Good day, folks, and welcome back to Ed's Garage. Today we're going to be doing a delivery video on the 2022 Kona Electric. So this is just basically how I set this vehicle up. I'm actually going to be helping out one of my coworkers. This is a delivery that he's doing. So everybody say hi to Dea.
Hello.
That's Dea. So this is his delivery that he's going to be doing. I'm going to show him how I set it up. This is his first electric car delivery. So we're going to go through and make sure that the car is ready for proper delivery, kind of set everything up the way that it should be set up for most people, etc. So let's get started. All right, so we've already gone around the car to make sure that it looks really clean. It's a little bit wet still, but it's actually kind of wet outside at any rate right now anyway. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the car. So Dad, go ahead and open up the hatch here. We're gonna make sure that there's no plastic inside the vehicle. So when these vehicles come from factory, they've got literally like 400 pieces of plastic on them. So we wanna make sure that's all removed from, so like, you know, inside here, they'll have like pieces of plastic. Basically, they're there to protect the plastics of the vehicle during shipping and when they're being inspected and whatnot. So let's look under the floor here, Dea, and just see what's under here. So you'll notice this one, we still have the carpet mats in the bag, but that's because we've got rubber mats for this client. All right, so in here, just making sure we got everything. So we got the charging cable right there. We've got the tire pump. This one does have a cargo net as well that comes with it. However, if you're using the tray, it doesn't really work. So that looks good. It's nice and clean. Everything's good here. So when we have the customer, we're going to actually show them how to use, you know, things like, taking out the privacy cover, where to find the charger, etc. All right, so next thing we're going to look at is the back seat, just to make sure that it's nice and clean. As you can see, we got the rubber mats in there. So Dea, I noticed there's an elastic on that seat belt there, so go ahead and pull that off. So those elastics basically hold in place some plastic protection on the seat belt buckles. And it looks like that's the only one that I see there. So yeah, looks pretty good back here. All right, let's go ahead and pop the hood down. Now the reason we're popping the hood is just to make sure that the engine, in this case motor compartment, has been cleaned. And it has been. Still quite wet, but that's okay. All right, so there's a little bit of plastic right here, Dea, so you're gonna pull that off. All of the fluids all look good. It's nice and clean. So when we have the customer, we're going to show him under the hood, show him how to use things like the windshield washer fluid there, keeping an eye on his coolant. So that coolant there is for the engine, or for the motor and the battery. And then of course you get your brake fluid there, your fuse box there. And we'll show them where the fuse box is. We'll show them where the accessory battery is, how to open up the accessory battery, and jump start if necessary. So one key point, guys, with an EV, you don't want to necessarily jump start an other vehicle with it. However, EVs can be jump started. So that's why they've got the accessory battery right up there and easy to access. Under the charge door, you can see everything is nice and clean here as well. The charge level is 100%, so of course when we're delivering a new vehicle, we want to make sure that that's at 100%. All right, so next step is inside the vehicle in the driver's seat. So we're going to quickly, again, check to make sure everything's clean, check for any stickers, any plastics. You'll notice we keep the plastic on the screen here because the customers often like to pull that off themselves. It just gives them a good feeling that they're buying a new car. So let's jump in and just make sure everything's set up properly. Go ahead and fire up the vehicle. All right, so first things that I always like to do, I always like to make sure that the radio isn't blasting. That is the first thing, and it's not. So that's just on an FM station there. And then while I'm doing that, we'll open up the radio. We're actually going to delete these three presets because they don't work here in where we are anyway. Turn those off. And we'll put it on FM, make sure that's not really loud, like it is. And I'll tune that to our local radio station. And make that a preset. There we go. Okay. And then we'll get back to this screen a little bit later. First off, we're going to start on the left side and kind of work our way across. And again, we do this with the customer as well. So we're going to turn on the lights to full. And the cool thing about this setting here is when you shut the car off, it actually does turn off all the lights and everything. So that's why I keep it on this setting, because on auto, you won't have tail lights in the back of the car during the day. So this is the safer place to put it. And now you can actually see these buttons down here. So we're going to crank the brightness. That's all the way up. We're going to make sure that the parking sensors are turned on. So this is off, that is on. The auto setting for the charging lock, we want to make sure that that is on. So make sure that the charge lock light is on. Obviously that's your traction stability. I'm going to leave that where it is. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is set up the instrument cluster screen. So we're going to go ahead and zoom in on that for you. All right, so these two buttons on the steering wheel, this one and this one, allow me to navigate through the center screen here. So this one here basically jumps to the right in the menu. So watch what happens when I press it. It goes from left to right and just bounces back to left. This one here allows me to go up and down through the menus. So I'm going to do that now. And just make sure everything that is reset up properly. Okay, so that looks clean. We can reset this now by holding the button down to reset it, because it says 2 minutes, so we're going to reset that now. Obviously, the longer we sit here with the car on, that's going to build up again anyway, but whatever, it's reset. I'm going to go to the next screen over and make sure all of these are reset. So there's a 2-minute drive info information there. This one can't actually be reset manually. You just have to shut the car off, turn it back on, and then it resets. But this one can. So this is our after recharging trip computer. So we'll reset that one. Accumulated info, we'll reset that one. And then we want to make sure that this is in kilometers, of course, which is done. We're going to bump over to the user settings now. Open up driver assistance. Make sure that the smart cruise control reaction time is on fast. Warning timing is normal. Good. Warning volume is normal. Oops. Yep. Medium. It's good. Driver attention warning. Both of them are turned on. Forward safety. Active assist is on. Good. Lane safety. Active assist is on. Good. Blind spot is turned on with active assist. So this vehicle can actually actively tug you away from a blind spot collision. Rear cross traffic safety is turned on, so that's good. Eco vehicle system. So I disable smart regeneration every time I see it on because I find it annoying. I prefer to have control with the regeneration using the paddles. Utility mode, by the way, is just like dog mode in a Tesla. It allows you to keep the accessories turned on and they don't drain the accessory battery. All right, so cluster. So that's our instrument cluster. We want to have our welcome sound turned on. Theme selection, we can either, choose one of these themes or we can keep it linked to the drive mode. I like to keep it linked to drive mode and just show the client where that is. Under lights, one touch turn signal. We always want to put that on 5 flashes. Headlight delay is on already. That's good. Under door, we've got a 2-press unlock. We will enable that as well. Under convenience, want to set the service interval. Now, of course, this being a electric vehicle, service interval is much larger. I'm gonna have to go back in here and redo this. So it's 24,000 kilometers in Canada or 12 months. So yeah, I'm gonna have to screw that up already, didn't I? Let's just set that properly here. So it's 24,000 kilometers or 12 months. There we go. Okay, so service interval is now set and it will remind him when it's getting close to that time. Under units, want to make sure that the temperature is in Celsius, of course. These should all be set correctly, so we're going to leave that. All right, so that is pretty much it for setting up the user settings. And then I always like to leave it on digital speedometer. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the climate control. So we want to have it on automatic, and we want to have it on 21 or 22 degrees or somewhere around there. And one thing that I like to do is actually disable the front auto defrost system, because these vehicles are equipped with a heat pump. In order to defrost the windshield, what they'll do is they'll actually turn on the AC. So essentially what happens is in the winter, when it's trying to defrost the windshield, you're going to get cold air on your forehead and it's kind of uncomfortable. What I find is that the defrost system is incredibly sensitive. Like when it thinks that the window is starting to frost up, you still got lots of time before it actually becomes fogged up. So I'm giving the client control over the defrost just to, prevent the question. So we'll talk to him about it as well during the delivery process, but just to prevent the question in the future of why am I getting cold air when my heater's on, we'll turn off the auto defrost system. And then if he needs it, he can just quickly turn it on and it works great. Okay, so last thing really is this screen. So we're gonna go to setup and we're gonna go into sound first and sound tuning. We're going to add some bass because this vehicle doesn't have a whole lot of bass coming out of the stereo. So we'll add some bass, add a little bit of treble. That's pretty much it there. We're going to turn on driving safe priority. So when your vehicle is in reverse or anytime that there's a warning, it'll actually lower the audio volume a little bit so you can actually hear it. We're going to enable the startup volume limit so it's not cranked when the customer gets into the vehicle. Everything else here looks good. Radio noise, we're going to put on max. And that looks good there. All right, next thing we're going to do is look in device connections, and we're just going to make sure that there's no current devices listed, which there isn't. Under vehicle, so these are the settings for the regen levels. So if you've already talked to the customer about what regeneration level they like, maybe you talked to them about it on the test drive, you can actually set the default regen level for each drive mode here. Of course, we're going to leave that just because we don't really know what the customer wants at this point, but we'll go over that with them during the delivery process. We are, however, going to put a detailed alert on the drive mode changes. So now, when we press the drive mode button down here, it actually gives us a very detailed amount of information and a quick access to the settings for that particular drive mode on the screen. So that's where we like to have it for that. All right, next thing over is display. So we're going to leave the illumination automatic. That'll change the brightness of the display based on the time of day or how dark it is outside. But we are going to enable the blue light filter, and we're going to set that to level 4 or 5. And basically that just filters out blue light, again, once it gets dark. It's kind of a nice setting. Screensaver, we'll put that on digital clock. So what that is anytime you shut the screen off by holding the power button, normally it would just be a blank screen. Now it's a clock. All right, home screen widgets, we'll show the client where this is so that they can customize their home screen, but for now we're going to leave it default. Media change notification, we'll leave that on. We're going to disable extend camera use for rear because we don't want the rear camera to come on when the customer puts the vehicle back into drive. Again, we will show them where that option is. And button, so this is the custom buttons. So we've got a custom button right here. The star button will, you can actually change what you want it to do. I always put that on phone projection. So it's a quick and easy way to get back into CarPlay and Android Auto. The button on the steering wheel. So this one right here, because most people expect that to be a hang-up button, we're going to put that on reject end call. And then the mode button on the steering wheel, again, we don't know what type of music the customer currently listens to, so we're going to enable all the different options there, and that just allows them to hit the mode button to cycle through the different sources of music. Under general, there shouldn't really be much to do in here, but we do want to check to make sure that the date and time is correct. We will enable the GPS time, and we'll make sure that it is currently 10:32 and that daylight savings time is either enabled or disabled, depending on the time of year, of course. What time is it, Dan?
It is 10:32.
Perfect. So that is set up correctly. And yeah, everything else in here looks good. BlueLink, this is just where you set up BlueLink, so we'll do that with the customer, of course. And Wi-Fi, we want to make sure that that is enabled. All right, and that's basically how we set up a Kona Electric for delivery and prepare it for the client. So basically the next step at this point, right now the client's actually in the finance department getting his financing set up and signing the sale agreement and all that stuff. Once he's gone through insurance, we'll put the license plates on him on the car for him as well. If the plates are dirty, we'll actually clean them first as well for him. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you learned anything or if you have any questions or comments, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe and comment below. But for now, this is Ed and Dea signing off. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for watching.